In April 2011, I was alerted by a member of the public to a welfare concern regarding some horses in the Winsford area of Cheshire. On attending the premises, I could see from the lane outside the small holding that there were some serious welfare concerns within the field where the horses were being kept, and also the yard where I could see some horses being kept as well. As I sort of looked further, I was really concerned about the condition of some of the horses that I could see. So I then alerted the RSPCA, and we did a joint visit with the police and a vet to the premises. We got the vet to individually examine each of the horses there, and the vet decided that basically, due to the poor condition of the horses and the conditions that they were being kept in, that they needed to be removed from the premises. So they were all removed that day to Penny Farm in Blackpool. I think once we'd removed the horses and had a good look at them once they arrived at the farm, the full extent of the sort of ongoing neglect and quite long-term neglect became apparent. Okay, so this mare is called Gabby. She's about 22 years old, and she was found with 9 other horses, including 3 stallions, at a yard over in Cheshire. She was actually penned off on her own in quite a dark pen, so she was, you wouldn't have spotted her unless you'd gone into the actual premises to have a look. And obviously, when we saw her, we were extremely concerned about her condition. She's very thin. You can see her chest bone is protruding. Her spinal process is very raised. I mean, I can literally just run my hand lightly across and feel every rib. Obviously, in an ideal world, you want a slight curve when you're putting your hand across a horse's back, not literally a triangular arch with your hand. Her pelvis is very prominent, and she's also got terrible scurfy skin where she's had a lice infestation, and unfortunately the majority of the horses that we took from there all had a lice infestation, so similar sort of coats, but I think she's probably the worst of the bunch in terms of her coat. A lot of them had very poor hooves that were extremely cracked. All of them had lice, some of them had rain scald. There was a number of the horses that were extremely thin, and just generally there wasn't any of the group that you could say was in good health really.
When we get any welfare cases into the farm, they immediately go into our quarantine yard. That is in case they bring any kind of infection or disease onto the yard. We do blood tests on them, we check them for worms, lice, we make sure that their feet are trimmed, we check their teeth, sort out their feeding regime, just really cater to every medical or physical need that they require, just to make sure that they are improving, that we are on the right road to getting them back to full health, and that they are making some progress.
The first thing to come with any horse is to find out if they are thin, why are they thin? Are they actually ill? Is there a problem with them? Or is it just down to malnourishment? And actually you often identify malnourishment by eliminating all the other causes of illness. So we do a full health screen, treat and identify any problems, treat the skin conditions. If a horse has lice, that can actually cause them to be anemic, and they can get run down and emaciated just from parasite infestation, so internally and externally with lice. So we give them a thorough health check, we'll take samples, try and get a real knowledge of what is wrong with these horses, and then treat them accordingly.
This little mare is another of the ponies that was picked up in the area close to Winsford as part of the case involving 10 horses. She's approximately 4.5 to 5 years old. Again, she's very poor, she's got very poor coat, again a lice infestation. She was actually tethered in the yard away from the other horses because apparently she was escaping from the field, but unfortunately she didn't have any food, any water. It was very hot. She obviously couldn't shelter anywhere from either the sun or the rain, so which is probably why her coats ended up being one of the worst of the bunch really. And for a 4.5-year-old, you know, she's just really not looking very good at all. This is not how a young mare should look.
This particular case I think was fairly typical of what we're seeing at the moment. Horses that are just turned out together and basically abandoned. Indiscriminately breeding, stallions and mares running together, you can end up with inbreeding problems, and the problem just perpetuates itself. And it seems to be more and more of a problem with these groups of semi-feral horses being kept together in sometimes dreadful conditions, and their numbers expand rapidly. Once you've addressed the major and the common problems, so whether that's parasite infestation and treated any illness that's there, So once you've got a healthy horse, then building up its condition is done slowly, little and often. It's just a good balanced diet, care and attention, bit of TLC, and over time we see these horses turn around over a matter of months. You're not going to turn a horse around in a few days. It is a long and patient process.
In terms of the horses that were involved in this welfare case, some of them obviously were pregnant when they came in and have subsequently had foals whilst in our care. So again, they've had a great start in life, which is brilliant, and they have gone out as well as youngsters to new homes. Two of the horses that were removed on the day, Gabby and Shabby, were two elderly mares that were both in extremely poor condition. I was really concerned about both those two mares when they came in, but I'm really happy to say that they made a great recovery while at Penny Farm, and one of our regular visitors to the farm took a real shine to Gabby and has actually rehomed both of the mares together. So they've both gone out to a really, really lovely lone home, and it's just a fantastic ending for them.
We did unfortunately have to have one of the stallions put to sleep because he was lame on all four legs and there was no future for him basically. There was nothing we could do about his lameness. He was an aged stallion, although he was very handsome and he was very calm. It was an unfortunate decision we had to make at the time, but the rest of them, they're all going on to lead useful lives. Two of the stallions we have had gelded. They were both in the teens, 15 and 17. And it was a big group discussion and it was a decision made with the vet, ourselves and the physio. We had them gelded and we have backed them, and to date they are riding and they are doing very well. We are about to take them out on the road to see how they go out on the road, and hopefully in the very near future we will rehome them as riding horses. So that's where we're up to with them. We've still got Joseph. We had 3 filly foals. They have all recently been rehomed. The last one is due to go this next week. We have 2 mares who we are backing at the moment. One is an older mare. She's a little bit nervous, but she's coming on very well. One is a younger mare. She's a little bit weak, so we're hoping to find a temporary home for her till she builds up her strength a little bit. On the whole, they've all done really well. This case is a great example of the work we do at World Horse Welfare, and using Joseph as the adopter horse gave us the chance to highlight that work and the kind of things that we have to deal with. The adopter horse scheme is a fantastic opportunity for people to see the work we do, feel a little bit more hands-on as to what we do and appreciate the work that we do, and it also gives them an opportunity to contribute to the future of World Horse Welfare and the horses that we bring into our care.
With regards to the owner of Joseph and the other horses involved in this case, he did actually have a number of other animals on the premises, and there were a wide range of welfare offences under the Animal Welfare Act that were committed. He now has been disqualified from keeping any animals for life, and all the horses, including Joseph, that were involved in this case were confiscated and were then subsequently signed over to World Horse Welfare. It's great to see the improvement in the horses involved in this case since they arrived at Penny Farm. When we found them on the day that we removed them, they were looking extremely poor and the future for them was looking very bleak. This has enabled them to have a fresh start, and without the work of the charities involved and the fact that the public alert us to these sort of issues, these horses would have ended up in a really, really bad way. So it's really nice to follow them through, see them being rehabilitated, and then go out to new homes with people that actually are going to look after them.